Welcome back to our channel, soap fans. Today is a phenomenal day to dive deep into the scandalous world of Los Angeles fashion. We have breaking spoilers that will leave you absolutely speechless. The crashing waves below the Cliff House have always been a symbol of Steffy Forrester's turbulent life, but nothing could prepare the legacy families of Los Angeles for the apocalyptic detonation of her darkest secret. Imagine the exact moment a lie becomes too heavy to carry. The exact second a heart shatters into a million irreparable pieces. That moment is here. The walls are closing in, the oxygen is evaporating, and the lethal cover-up between Steffy Forrester and Carter Walton is about to explode in the most spectacular, devastating fashion imaginable. The corporate and family wars in Los Angeles have just been eclipsed by a betrayal so profound, it will rewrite the entire landscape of Forrester creations. Get ready for the fallout of the century. Steffy is suffocating. John Finn Finnegan, the man who defied death for her, the man who just rushed back from Monaco on a desperate flight to salvage their fractured marriage, is looking at her with eyes full of blind, unwavering devotion. He is praising her strength, her loyalty, her commitment to their family. Every single word of praise is a jagged dagger twisting deep in her gut. The toxic guilt of her drunken hookup with Carter Walton in the CEO office is a venom she can no longer swallow. The pressure is mounting to a lethal degree. The walls of the Cliff House begin to spin. Steffy cannot look at Finn's trusting, hopeful face for one more second. In a frantic, feral panic, the truth rips its way out of her throat. She confesses everything. She tells him about the alcohol, the vulnerability, the couch in the CEO office, and the ultimate physical betrayal with Carter. She unleashes the horrifying reality of her actions, unable to bear the crushing weight of his blind faith any longer. The confession hangs in the air, a toxic cloud that instantly poisons their sanctuary. The silence that follows is deafening and absolute. Finn stands completely paralyzed, the air violently knocked from his lungs. This is not a misunderstanding. This is not a manipulation by Sheila. This is a cold, calculated betrayal by the woman he loves and defends against all odds. The initial confusion and heartbreak in Finn's eyes quickly morph into a cold, unyielding devastation. He remembers the sharp sting of her wedding ring hitting his chest on the beach in Monaco. He remembers begging for her forgiveness over a secret, only to realize she was harboring a sin far more lethal. Finn draws a hard, permanent line in the sand. He cannot, and will not, forgive her for cheating on him yet again. The cycle of betrayal has broken the good doctor for the final time. The man who once took a bullet for his wife now looks at her as if she is a complete stranger. The foundation of their marriage crumbles into dust in a matter of seconds. Steffy's desperate tears and frantic apologies fall on deaf ears. Finn's absolute heartbreak hardens into an impenetrable wall of rejection. The fairy tale is officially dead and buried. Meanwhile, across town, another tragedy is quietly and brutally unfolding in Carter Walton's loft. Daphne Rose Walton returned to Los Angeles without boarding her flight to Paris, ready to fight for her marriage and discuss family plans. She is completely oblivious to the fact that her husband desecrated their vows the moment she turned her back. But secrets in Los Angeles always leave a digital trail. While Carter is distracted, Daphne's eyes catch a notification on his phone. It is a moment that will change her life forever. Daphne picks up the device, her curiosity turning into absolute horror as she reads the screen. She uncovers sneaky, panicked text messages from Carter explicitly referencing a potential pregnancy and Steffy. The words blur together as the horrifying reality sets in. Daphne's world disintegrates right beneath her feet. The cruel, agonizing irony of the situation hits her like a runaway freight train. She just received a devastating early menopause diagnosis, drowning in the grief of her infertility. And now she is staring at hard proof of her husband's infidelity. The betrayal is absolute, multi-layered, and suffocating. Daphne realizes that while she was weeping over her inability to give Carter a child, he was sleeping with one of her closest friends. And to make the nightmare infinitely worse, That very friend might be carrying the child Daphne cannot have. The sheer cruelty of the universe is too much to bear. She confronts Carter the moment he steps into the room, holding the phone up like a loaded weapon, her voice trembling with a mixture of profound grief and escalating rage. Carter's face drains of all color. The suave, composed COO of Forrester Creations is instantly reduced to a stammering, guilty mess. He tries to explain, tries to contextualize the drunken grief that led to the catastrophic hookup, but Daphne is having none of it. She sees right through the pathetic deception. Carter, the man who always played the moral compass, the man who officiated countless weddings and preached about loyalty, has committed the ultimate betrayal. He actively engaged in a deceptive cover-up, smiling in Daphne's face while hiding a ticking time bomb. The shockwaves of this dual revelation hit the Forrester and Spencer families with the force of a Category 5 hurricane. Ridge Forrester, who has spent the last few weeks aggressively defending Steffi and launching a ruthless fashion war against the Logans, is rendered completely speechless by his daughter's catastrophic lack of judgment. Eric Forrester, the patriarch who demands loyalty and respect above all else, is deeply disappointed. The Forresters, a family that usually closes ranks to protect their own, find the stench of this scandal too toxic to defend. Ridge Forrester's reaction is a spectacle of pure, unadulterated rage and profound disappointment. The dressmaker, who has spent his entire life fiercely protecting his daughter and elevating Carter as his most trusted right-hand man, feels the sting of a double betrayal. He storms the CEO office, the very room where the despicable act took place, and unleashes a verbal assault that shakes the foundation of the building. Ridge strips Carter of his corporate authority with immediate effect, demanding he vacate the premises. For Steffi, Ridge's disappointment is a fate worse than his anger. He looks at his daughter not as the fierce co-CEO he groomed, but as a reckless liability who has irreparably damaged the Forrester name. Across town at Spencer Publications, Dollar Bill Spencer is practically vibrating with sinister glee. The man who has been locked in a bitter, escalating fashion war with Forrester Creations just received the ultimate ammunition on a silver platter. Bill immediately begins strategizing with Katie and Liam on how to weaponize Steffi's scandalous downfall to ensure Logan's absolute market dominance. He points out the sheer hypocrisy of Steffi's past judgments, using her catastrophic failure to validate his own empire's rise. Liam, meanwhile, is consumed by a fierce, protective terror for his daughter, Kelly, realizing that Steffi's toxic, imploding life is no longer a safe environment. The Spencer men circle the wounded Forrester empire like sharks smelling blood in the water. Steffi is brutally stripped of her infallible pedestal. She is no longer the righteous victim fighting against the evils of Sheila or the Logan women. She is the architect of her own destruction. The Spencer family is equally disgusted. Liam Spencer, who shares a daughter with Steffi, is horrified by the reckless instability she has brought into their children's lives. Bill Spencer relishes the fall of the high and mighty Forrester princess, using the scandalous fallout to further elevate the Logan brand in the ongoing corporate war. The collective families turn their backs on the disgraced duo. There are no sympathetic shoulders to cry on, no emergency PR spins that can fix a betrayal of this magnitude. Steffi and Carter are entirely isolated, pariahs in the very city they once ruled with unquestioned authority. They are forced to face the horrifying reality of their actions. They have lost absolutely everything. Steffi has lost her devoted husband, the respect of her father, and the moral high ground she so fiercely guarded for years. Carter has lost his beautiful wife, his pristine reputation, and his standing as the trusted confidant of the Forrester family. The suffocating weight of their shared sin binds them together in complete disgrace. They sit in the ruins of their respective lives, realizing that the damage they have inflicted on the people they love the most is permanent and irreversible. The belated remorse they feel is a bitter pill to swallow, offering no comfort and no path to redemption in the eyes of their shattered families. In a tense, emotionally drained secret meeting, Steffi and Carter come to the only logical conclusion left to them. They cannot stay in Los Angeles. The whispers in the Forrester Creations hallways, the glaring tabloid headlines, the shattered, haunted looks on Finn and Daphne's faces. It is all simply too much to bear. They must leave. In a moment of profound clarity, they decide that the only way to allow their loved ones to heal is to remove themselves from the equation entirely. They must disappear from the canvas they once dominated. They hope that time and distance will eventually blur the deep, jagged scars they have so recklessly carved into their families. Steffy packs her bags for Europe, her empire in ruins. She is stepping down from her day-to-day power plays in Los Angeles and taking a one-way flight to France. She will run a Forrester branch in Paris, a self-imposed exile disguised as a corporate reassignment. It is a desperate, heartbreaking attempt to escape the ghosts of the Cliff House and the haunting memory of Finn's shattered expression. France offers Steffy a blank slate, a cold, isolated place where she can deal with the terrifying uncertainty of her potential pregnancy away from the glaring eyes of the Los Angeles elite. Meanwhile, Carter Walton, stripped of his dignity and his powerful COO title, officially hands in his resignation. He cannot walk the halls of Forrester Creations knowing he betrayed the family's trust and utterly destroyed his own marriage. He books a flight to the United Kingdom, determined to find a new job and rebuild his shattered life from the ground up. Carter leaves behind the tailored suits, the corner office, and the legacy he built, trading them for the cold reality of starting over in England as a man who lost everything to a single night of drunken weakness. The departures are swift, cold, and devoid of the usual soap opera fanfare. There are no tearful goodbyes at the airport, no last-minute declarations of forgiveness, and no dramatic chases to the gate. Finn stands in the empty Cliff House, staring at the crashing ocean, his heart permanently hardened against the woman he once thought was his soulmate. The final walkout from the Forrester Creations building is a masterclass in tragic cinematic tension. Steffy and Carter, once the undisputed king and queen of the boardroom, carry their personal belongings in complete, humiliating silence. The hallways, usually buzzing with sycophantic praise and high-fashion energy, are dead quiet. Employees avert their eyes. The respect they once commanded entirely evaporated. Steffy pauses at the glass doors, taking one last, agonizing look at the legacy she is abandoning. Carter doesn't even look back, his shoulders heavy with the suffocating weight of his disgrace. They step into the blinding Los Angeles sun, not as conquerors, but as exiles, bound for separate continents but united in their spectacular ruin. Daphne stands in Carter's empty loft, holding the pieces of her shattered dreams, ready to rebuild her life without the man who broke her beyond repair. Los Angeles is left reeling in the massive vacuum of their sudden absence. The power dynamics at Forrester Creations are thrown into absolute, unmitigated chaos. Who will step up to fill Steffy's formidable shoes? Will Hope Logan use this explosive scandal to propel her new line at Logan to unprecedented, global heights? Will Ridge be able to hold the company together without his two top executives? The fallout from the CEO office hookup has completely rewritten the entire landscape of the bold and the beautiful. Steffy Forrester and Carter Walton played with fire, and they burned their entire worlds to the ground. The ashes of their legacy will choke the Forrester and Spencer families for years to come. The era of Steffy's unquestioned dominance is over. The era of Carter's moral superiority is dead. They leave behind a city of broken hearts and a corporate empire teetering on the brink of total collapse. The ultimate price for the ultimate betrayal has finally been paid. Will Finn and Daphne ever seek revenge? Or is this truly the tragic end for Steffy and Carter? Drop your wildest predictions in the comments below and hit subscribe to never miss an update.